How could you make all those horrific mistakes? How could you say such harsh words to them? How did you let that opportunity pass you by? What is wrong with you? I don't know, okay? I was just trying to do my best. Why do you always treat me like this? If you're wasting valuable time having these kinds of conversations inside your head, maybe it's a good time to cease fire and call a truce. By the end of this video, you will know how to make peace with yourself and how to live a more joyful and abundant life. And isn't that what we all want after this crazy year 2020? Now we're coming into 2021, and it's a perfect time to start building the life we want, but we've got some things we need to handle first. I am Kimberly Bengali, and you are watching True Stature. It's the place to be to create a life you love, fueled by your personal truth. This channel is all about inspiring authenticity and joy by reaching our goals and working together. If you like this video today and you want to be a part of True Stature's community, please subscribe in the link below. We are so happy to have you. We need women like you. I won't go into all the gory details here. I've alluded to a little bit of my past before, and there'll be other opportunities for that. But I will tell you this, in my 49.999 years of life, I have had a lot of ups and downs. I've had a lot of lessons. I have made a lot of mistakes, and I've hurt people, and I've hurt myself. I've fallen short on many dreams and goals. I've beaten myself up mercilessly. And because of all that garbage, I have been at a constant battle with myself. I mean epic wars, carnage, blood, woe, and desolation. And why the battles? Because I knew I needed to change, but I was afraid. And I let that fear control me. I was living under limiting beliefs that were debilitating. Thank goodness, with the proper support, I was able to step out of that space. And most importantly, make peace with myself. And that's what I'm here today to help you to do. I don't know what your personal circumstances are, but I do know that we're human and that we make mistakes and we hurt people and we hurt ourselves. We can make a real mess of things, but the beauty of it is that there is so much joy to be had. In this life, as bad as things can be, the opposite spectrum is that they can be so joyful and so beautiful. To tap into that joy that's available, we need to stop fighting with ourselves. I have to tell you, after years of not living in harmony, residing there now is pretty spectacular. But does living in that harmony with myself mean that my life is like so amazing and perfect all the time? Of course not. Absolutely not. But what it does mean to me is that I'm willing to acknowledge when I fall, when I hurt people, when I hurt myself, and fix it immediately. And one day at a time, I am keeping the peace in my life, starting with inside of me. Making peace with yourself is one of the best ways to bring joy and happiness into your life. But unfortunately, that peace and happiness is often elusive to us because we're constantly fighting with ourselves. And for that reason, it's a battle that we cannot win. In our society, it's common for us to look outside ourselves to try and find the happiness that we so much want and deserve. We may chase after material things with the mistaken notion that they can make us feel whole. I will be so happy when I have that amazing outfit. I will be enough if I can just have that fancy car. We may even attain those material possessions only to find that they're more of a band-aid than a healing balm. We will still have to live with what's on the inside. So perhaps in a last-ditch effort to feel whole, we begin to seek the approval of others. If he chooses me, surely that must mean I'm lovable. Then I will deserve happiness. And so the cycle goes. Inner turmoil causes everything from compulsive eating, better to fill the void with food than to feel the pain, to behaviors such as alcoholism or drug addiction. One can forget the unhappiness and the brokenness for a blissful little while. Anxiety, depression, guilt, shame, low self-esteem, limiting beliefs. Nobody would choose to live like this on purpose, would they? And yet we choose it every single day. We choose it because we continually try to fix life on the surface when what's really needed is some serious soul searching. When we are not at peace with ourselves, there will always be that fear inside us that we are not enough. And that internal struggle leads to unhappiness, resentment, and pain. I know, I've been there. So how do we begin to call a truce with ourselves and begin to write up this peace treaty we so desperately need? Well, if you really want to understand, here is an important truth that you need to know and hold deep within your heart. You are enough right now, faults and all. The mistakes you make don't define your value. The people you've hurt don't define your value. Without the gadgets, without the fancy cars or the sexy body, without the cool friends or the money or the power, you are enough. That is truth, my friend. It is a fact. But you will never make peace with yourself until you believe it. You need to come to terms with who you are and how you show up in this life. What kind of pain you bring to others, what kind of joy you bring to others, and what kind of pain you bring to yourself. If you really want to be happy, you need to take courage into this battle. And part of that courage that you can take into this battle is the knowledge that this battle is one that you can actually win because you're not fighting against yourself. Okay, got your armor on? Ready to charge forward? Actually, you don't need armor. What you do need is a piece of paper and a pencil. And this is going to help you tremendously, so please take the time to do this. The first question you're going to want to answer is, where have I fallen short with myself? Have I allowed fear to dictate what I do? Have I broken promises to myself? Have I belittled myself on a regular basis? Have I physically hurt myself by indulging in compulsive eating or alcoholism or drug addictions? Do I disrespect myself and put my needs last every time? Those are some questions that you're really going to want to think on. And it's important that you don't just gloss over this. This is a battle. You need to go to battle for yourself. Now, the next section, you're going to write, where have you fallen short with others? And in this area, you can consider ways you may have hurt people in your life. Have you been dishonest with somebody? Did you speak harsh words to somebody recently or judge them? Have you withheld love and acceptance because you want to manipulate a situation? Did you try to control somebody to get your way? These are difficult questions to ask, but if you're going to win this battle, you really need to be honest with yourself. Can I admit to myself where I've fallen short? Where I've failed myself? Can I face the truth about my allowing fear to dictate my choices? Can I face the truths about my unsettling behaviors? And of course, the next section is the obvious. Now that you know, then what can you do to make things right in both of those first two areas? With yourself, what can you do to make things right with yourself? And what can you do to make things right with the people around you? Can you muster up the courage to come clean? Of course you can. Take a moment and be courageous. In the comments below, write one action that you could begin doing today to begin calling a truce with yourself. It's okay if that sounds a little scary, but this is a friendly community. Do it anyway. It's good for you to get things out there. You don't have to go into any gory details. So now that you've done this writing exercise, you have a pretty good idea about the things you're battling with inside your head. And maybe it would be a great idea to actually begin fixing them one at a time and checking them off. How empowering would that be if you had a list and every few days you were able to cross off one of those things that you've been battling yourself over for a long time? Amazing. I am not trying to make this sound like it's easy. It's not. It's hard to admit our faults and to be vulnerable enough to ask people for forgiveness and to ask ourselves for forgiveness, but it is doable. I myself have done it, and I continue to do it on a regular basis. Since, at least for me, I keep making mistakes, so it's an ongoing process. There's always something I need to fix. There's always something. So as hard as that process might seem to fix things in your life, the rewards are going to far outweigh any of the struggle. And you'll probably find that when you go to other people and ask their forgiveness for things, they're going to be quite often extremely gracious, and some of them may even say things like, "Oh, that is so sweet of you, I hadn't even noticed," or "Wow, I'm really impressed that you have that kind of integrity that you would come and say something hard like that." Do you want to know a little secret about me? When I began to acknowledge where I had messed up and started fixing things with myself and other people, I was less inclined to harm myself with compulsive eating behaviors and unkind thoughts. These are just things that happened almost automatically when I started to clean up my messy self. My immediate payoff was the shame and the guilt that I had been beating myself up with was gone. And that opened up space in my heart to love myself. Now, there are two things you're going to want to keep in mind during this process, and these are very important. I would highly recommend that when it comes to fixing things with other people, you are extremely thoughtful and mindful of how it might affect them. It's very important that you don't cause further damage when you bring up past hurts that you have done. And the other thing I would love for you to remember is, you're only cleaning your side of the street. If you're really sincerely trying to make things right, then you're only going to mention your part of things. You're not going to say, I'm sorry I lied to you about that, but you're such a controlling person that I just felt I had to. No, you just say, I'm sorry I lied about that. That was wrong. This is not about them or anything they may have done to you. It's completely about you setting things right that you know you did wrong, period. One of the things that we need to remember as we're thinking about the mistakes that we've done and the poor choices we've made is that self-compassion can go a long way. You have to remember, in your life, you're just doing the best you can at any given moment. And when we make decisions or choices and do things, there's a lot going in on that decision. There may be pain we're struggling with, there may be fears, anxiety, all sorts of things that contribute to that decision or choice or action. And so allow yourself to be human and be willing to forgive even the biggest faults. I'll just give you a quick example. During a particularly difficult time in my life, I made some choices that I eventually began to loathe myself for. This led to a lot of unhappiness, and it wasn't until I was able to view myself more compassionately. I also needed to acknowledge that my actions stemmed from a great deal of pain and anxiety and frustration that I had been feeling in my life for many years. Can you love yourself enough to allow for your humanness and all that comes with that? I am not saying excuse yourself for making a mess of things. I am saying acknowledge where you fall, but do it compassionately, and then make earnest efforts to change those behaviors. In my experience, my friends, you can come to terms with yourself and make peace. It won't be easy, but it will be worth the effort. When you are living right with yourself and with others, you begin to come from a place of joy. The kind of joy that used to elude you will be yours. And I know that sounds corny, but it's true. I am speaking from experience on this one. You want to have a great 2021, don't we all? Start it off right by taking the next few weeks before 2021 hits, make peace with yourself, and set the groundwork for the amazing things that are coming your way. If you found this video to be helpful, please join the True Stature community. We need women like you. We are all working towards our goals. We fall sometimes, but we keep getting up. We're just being real and working together. We can be found here, obviously, as you can see me right now. Also, you can catch us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you for sticking around for the video, and I will see you next week on True Stature. Bye, friends. If you enjoyed this video, I suspect you're going to enjoy these as well.